Hi there, I'm Kelly Danfus, and welcome to the First Friday video for May 2021. Before I welcome this month's guests, I want to send congratulations to our entire Red Wolves community. You know, it was just outstanding watching everyone come together this past spring. Today marks the final day of the semester. The finals actually ended yesterday, and we have commencement tomorrow, and it's exciting to see that we've all come together. I remember in the beginning part of the fall semester, there was some anxiety about whether or not we were going to be able to pull off the academic semester, but our students and our faculty and staff pulled together and we were able to make that happen. I'm very proud of you all, and congratulations for that as well. As we move into the summer now, we prepare for a new fall semester, a fall semester that we think will look a lot more like fall 19 than fall 2020, and so we're excited about that as well. So now it's time to talk with my guest here. I'm joined by our Vice Chancellor for Advancement, Dr. Erika Chudy. Welcome to the First Friday video.
Thank you, Dr. Danfus.
So we have a lot going on with the advancement world today, and so one of the things that's very exciting was last week was our inaugural Day of Giving. I want to chat a little bit about what happened there. I know we had a very successful giving day. We raised over $1 million, which was really exciting, but talk about the process that went into putting that together and then how it all worked out in the end.
Sure. Well, thank you in advance for your leadership in the effort. It was our first inaugural Day of Giving, and we wound up being well over $1 million. Over 1,000 gifts. We met our goal of 750 donors. It was just really an inspiration to see so many alumni, faculty, staff, friends, students, everyone come out to support either the college, the sport, the program, whatever their interest was, whatever their passion was for being successful. It was really just overwhelming to watch happen.
And it didn't just happen overnight too. You spent 6 or 8 months leading up to it, and a lot of that work was meeting with individual divisions and with departments and colleges, trying to determine what their wish list was and then putting together the plan for that. So talk a little bit about that.
Absolutely. So we really worked with each dean to see kind of what their priorities were, and our donors to see what their vision was for where they wanted the colleges to go. And each of the deans has done a wonderful job putting together their councils and their leadership teams to do that. And so we were able to go to some of them and say, now's the time to step up and give. But we also had a lot of groups, a lot of individual honors and others that had their own campaigns going on, a medal campaign and so forth, that drove their own fundraising effort to Apex on Day of Giving. And so KSU was a huge help to us in getting the word out. Just so many partners, so many people, but our alumni staff and development staff really were the catalysts behind getting everything pulled together for this first time. And so we're very proud.
And you know, what's really interesting to me about Days of Giving, and these are done at universities across the country. It's the first time we've done it, but it's an all-out effort. We're not just development officers who are asking people for money, but it's actually our entire community is engaging in the fundraising effort. And what's also interesting is the number of faculty and staff who gave as well. So it was interesting to see them giving to the things that they're really passionate about.
Absolutely. We have our Torchbearer program, which is an annual giving campaign, and many faculty and staff contribute to that already. We had even more join that group. And then we had the Student Philanthropy Council to lead our on-campus philanthropy. They did all sorts of fun games and got all the registered student organizations on campus to participate, and had Philanthropy Cup and a 5K race day and all kinds of fun things just to get the excitement about giving and to educate students about giving back.
You know, something when I was an undergraduate, even as a grad student, I don't think I really understood the importance of giving. Even as a faculty member, when I first started teaching, I didn't understand the important role that I could have. And it's not that, you know, we hear about the big gifts where people are naming buildings or colleges after themselves or after someone that they care about, but even the small gifts can have a huge impact.
Oh, absolutely. Our scholarship gifts, our endowed scholarships, mean the difference oftentimes between someone having to work a part-time job and a full-time job and go to school at the same time. So those endowed scholarships keep going in perpetuity, and they allow our students to be successful. But the small gifts along the way, every single dollar counts here at A-State.
Every Red Wolf counts and every dollar counts
right.
as well. That's great. So there's we talked about the Student Philanthropy Council, which is great. It's great to see our students learning about philanthropy. Again, something I never really thought about when I was a student. But there's another group that also helps the university succeed, and that's called the Chancellor Circle. And it's a group group of alumni and friends who are giving annually to the Chancellor's discretionary funds, and we do certain things with them. You want to talk a little bit about the Chancellor Circle?
Sure. We've been very blessed by alumni and friends who believe in our mission, believe in the strategic goals that you've put forward, and they invest in that through the Chancellor Circle. And then their dues go toward a separate philanthropy cause here on campus each year. This year, of course, it was the Student Emergency Fund, which was a very needed thing for students, and it'll change next year, but we are always inviting new people to join the Chancellor Circle.
The nice thing about having that discretionary money, it allows me when strategic initiatives come my way, I have some funds available to help fund that. For example, we funded something called the Howell Transition Program, which helps students who are developmentally challenged to come to A-State, to enroll as college students, to work towards getting a college degree. It's a program we wouldn't have otherwise without the Chancellor Circle funds. Yes.
Absolutely.
Well, thanks so much for joining us today, Erika. It's so great to hear about what you're doing in advancement. Remember, advancement is not just about raising funds for the university, it's also about alumni relations. And how many alumni do we have at Arkansas State?
Over 100,000.
Over 100,000. We got to celebrate that most recently at our graduation. We had the 100,000th graduate walk across the stage. It was really exciting to see that. If people want to reach out to find out more about how they can support the university, what's the best way to contact you?
Sure, they can reach me directly at echudy@astate.edu or by going to our website, astate.edu/donate.
Well, thank you so much. I appreciate that. One of the funds that was highlighted in this year's Day of Giving was the annual student class gift. The SBC held several events to help fund the Class of 2021 project. They also received a matching gift from our Student Government Association. Our $1 million Day of Giving wasn't the only major fundraising milestone in May. We also celebrated a gift from the Windgate Foundation to support our Windgate Center for 3D Arts, to support scholarships for students, and to uplift art projects at the Bradbury Art Museum and the Department of Art and Design. The $6.4 million gift is one of the largest single gifts to support the arts at Arkansas State. Through the educational research to regional K-12 students at BAM and with need-based scholarships for students attending A-State, it is a gift that will impact generations in our region. Our 47th Convocation of Scholars also came to a close this past week. I was thrilled to participate in many of our college recognition events. Once again, a major highlight was celebrating the research of our undergraduate students through the Create at State event. And I might add, our students at Campus Querétaro conducted their own Create at CQ. During our annual Faculty Recognition Awards, I had the opportunity to inaugurate the Chancellor's Medal for Research and Creative Activity. Congratulations to Dr. Travis Marsico as our first recipient, and we begin a new tradition of Dr. Marsico leading out our faculty along with the Faculty Senate President at commencement. And of course, one of the great highlights of the Convocation of Scholars is the recognition of our 2021 Distinguished Service Award recipients and the naming of the 135th Wilson Awardee. My congratulations to our DSA seniors Brenna Cannon, Megan Gunnels, Sarah Hall, Bailey McAlexander, and Imani Udumana, and our Wilson Award recipient, Rashad Kirksey. I'm looking forward to hearing Rashad's address to our students at our spring 2021 commencement. Speaking of service and leadership, one of the things that Erika mentioned was the Chancellor's Circle provides resources for the Chancellor to have discretionary funds to start new projects as they come along. And one of the new projects we started this past year was something called the Chancellor's Leadership Class, which involved freshmen that were coming in last fall. And one of the members of the Chancellor's Leadership Class for this past fall was Meg Amison. Welcome to the First Friday video.
Thank you for having me.
So it was great to get to know you a little bit this year. It was awkward sometimes because we were all in a big room and we were all wearing masks and we're distancing from each other, but it was great to get to know you. But tell our audience a little bit about yourself, where you're from and what your major is and things you're thinking about doing here at A-State.
Well, I'm from Benton, Arkansas, Central Arkansas. I am a vocal music education major, and I'm a freshman this year.
That's great. Now, you had probably one of the toughest senior years in high school that that Americans have dealt with in the past, because your senior year was truncated. Can you talk a little bit about your senior year and then what your transition to freshman year was like here?
Yeah, so essentially around March, school just kind of cut off, shut down, and it was really, really hard to transition to doing nothing for several months, school related to now I'm in college, now I have to study more. So it definitely made it a lot harder than I think it would have normally been.
How different was college in reality versus what you expected to be because of COVID-19?
Oh my goodness. Well, definitely a lot of Zoom classes, a lot of online classes. courses that I never really envisioned for myself, but they aren't kidding when you need to study.
A lot more studying, right?
A lot more studying.
That's great. Well, it's hard for everyone, but especially hard for students this past year. And
Right.
I'm really proud of our freshmen who kind of like weathered a tough storm during their senior year and then transitioned so well here at Arkansas State. It was a little scary, I think, being the semester, everyone learning how to do the process, but we figured it out together. And here we are at the end of the semester of the spring, and we're done. The academic year is finished, and now you're a sophomore. How exciting is that?
I'm so excited. I'm ready.
Do you have plans for the summer?
Mainly just working, finding more leadership opportunities now that I won't be in CLC during the summer.
That's good. Well, speaking of CLC, why don't you walk us through a little bit what CLC was like from your perspective?
So from my perspective, it was just us meeting every week. Sometimes we got free food, which was amazing. And we got to hear from all these wonderful leaders, not just about the principles of leadership, but basically how not all of them just came from the top and rose a little bit, but some of them were at the very bottom and just rose up.
Is there a specific speaker you remember that kind of like touched a tone with you that you kind of remember more than other people?
Honestly, Coach Jones, he was talking because he's been through so many things and he went to several colleges and now he's here and he just came forth with a mission and he wants everyone to be on the same level playing field as him. He never thinks of himself as the leader. He's equal with everyone.
That's really great to see that you had an opportunity to hang out with him. Some other speakers were like Governor Hutchinson,
yes.
State leaders, business leaders, academic leaders as well. So it was a wide variety of people you got a chance to engage with.
Right.
Part of the leadership class was also not just about listening about leadership, but about learning about leadership.
Right.
And you engaged in a couple of service projects, but one of them involved Coach Jones. Talk a little bit about that.
So Coach Jones met with the CLC team, so to speak, and he presented the challenge that we need a more active, more engaged student section and how we can make that possible. Straight after that meeting, I developed a team and there were about 30 to 40 students involved, and myself as well as 4 other co-directors put together something that would help us name the student section, brand the student section. Our overall goal is really just to encourage participation, enthusiasm, and to make sure that the student section is really a place for any student, any department, any classification. Anyone's free to join.
I thought it was pretty interesting that Coach Jones said something like, I'm giving you some of my time now, I want you to give me some of your
Right.
time, and gave you a challenge. Then you all were just immediately just jumped on it and prepared a document and then a presentation, and talk about the presentation.
So of course we practiced on you and your wife, and it's kind of funny that we were practicing on the Chancellor rather than someone else. So and it was just we presented to you, and then you were like, okay, great. Now we were going to set up a meeting with all these other people, and I believe it was just 2 days after we presented to you. And we were in the big football conference room, and it's very intimidating, very scary, but everyone was so accommodating and so welcoming. And, you know, we talked after and we're like, we didn't expect them to give us, 15 minutes of their time. We were in there for over an hour, speaking about these new ideas. So really, it was just an awesome experience.
Well, I thought it was interesting that Coach Jones just didn't come himself, but he brought his leadership team with
Right.
him. And then our athletics director was there as well, Tom
Right.
Bowen, who you haven't had a chance to meet before then because we just brought him on board. But
Right.
he was taking a lot of notes as well, so it's
Yes.
pretty interesting.
Yes.
But even though you're not involved so much directly through experience, but you still have a lot of ideas, and I think that's something cool about Arkansas State, that we have a great opportunity for people to come in and lead really quickly.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
So now you've had CLC and you've been a freshman, and now you're starting to think about the next 3 years of your career here. What are some of your thoughts about what you want to do at A-State beyond working with the football student section and maybe your academics, but what about some other leadership aspirations you have?
So I definitely do have more leadership aspirations. I'm a part of a music fraternity here. I want to be a part of a leadership group in that. I'm also a part of St. Jude's Up Till Dawn. I also want to experience some leadership with that. And basically, I'm just excited to explore all of the leadership opportunities that A-State has.
Well, that's exciting. I can't wait to see you, work through your college career here and then graduate in just 3 more years. Can you believe that? It's time to
Barely.
fly. Yeah, barely. Well, I'm excited for you. So thanks so much for joining us today. And that wraps up our first Friday video for the month. And I do want to say something to our returning students. We're excited about having you come back in the fall semester. The fall semester of 2021 will look a lot more like fall 2019 than it did fall 20. We will not have masks in the classroom. We won't be distancing in the classroom as well. So we'll be back. We'll spend the whole summer getting the campus ready for your return. We'll have the majority of our classes be in person. We're excited about that as well. I'm grateful for our faculty and staff who are going to work so hard this summer to make sure that we are all back here safely in the fall. I can't wait to see you all back here. As always, if you want to reach out to me, I'm happy to hear from you. Just reach out by email at chancellor@astate.edu or on social media at KDAMP. All right, everyone. Till next time, wolves up.